So folks, I'm out on an overnighter. It's the first one of this year. My first proper time out in the woods, so to speak, this year. I've been away for about 3 months abroad working, so this is the second video I filmed this year. The first video that I filmed was the 5 favourite outdoor gear item video that I was tagged in by Simon, a bloke in the woods. That was the first video I filmed this year. The other videos that went up in January, February, March, they were filmed in 2017, and I uploaded them and scheduled them to come out while I was away, so there wasn't like no content coming out. So yeah, April, you know, I can't even remember what the date is today. It's the second last weekend of April, depending on when this video gets uploaded. So yeah, overnighter, I'm out with Rusty. I bring him out with me pretty much all the time, whether it's just for a walk or if I'm out on an overnight trip or whatever. He's my bush buddy, he gives me a bit of company and it gets him out of the house as well. But we've gone with this setup today. It's whatever you call it, I don't really know. It's going to be quite warm tonight and it's really warm today, so I wanted a shelter that was quite airy, so I wanted it up so we got a lot of circulation. But I thought I'd just show you a few bits of the kit that I brought out with me. Start off with the food because it was already at the top. So I've got a big bag of trail mix here. Got a couple of bags of Rusty's food for his evening meal tonight and his breakfast in the morning. I've got a couple of eggs here that I'm going to boil. I don't know if I'll boil them tonight and then have them tomorrow. Well, they're for breakfast, but I don't know if I'll boil them tonight or have a fire tomorrow morning. Probably just boil them tonight so they're ready for tomorrow morning. But what I've also got here, and what is still fairly frozen to be honest, is a 24-ounce steak. Thought I'd treat myself, seeing as I've been away for the past 3 months. And we can share it, can't we, big man? We can share a bit of it, So yeah, I'll show you the rest of the kit. I've got my titanium light venture pan. I'm planning on cooking this over the fire as it is and put it on the coals, but this will be for Rusty's meal and for putting water in as well. This pouch here is my camera kit. This front pouch I usually keep my tools, like I've got my knife on my belt now and my ferro rods, which would usually get kept in here while I'm travelling. Also my saw and my small carving knife. And the main bag itself, I've got my mechanics gloves. I use these for working around the fire. I've got my wool mitten, fingerless mitten type gloves, just in case it gets cold. Like I said, it's probably not, I reckon it's going to be fine. It's 19 degrees now, so it says so on my little thermometer, and through the night I think it's only going to go down to about like 6, 7, 8, so yeah, I'll be fine. I doubt I'll need them, but just in case, you know. Shemag, woolen hat, and at the very bottom, I'll get to that soon. So I've got my 2-season sleeping bag. It's my Snug Pack Travel Pack 2. It goes down to comfort 2 degrees, lowest -3. So happy days. Gore-Tex bivy bag. This is a fairly new bit of kit. My wife got me this for my Christmas. It's what one is it? Thermarest Pro Light Plus, something like that. It's rated as a 3 to 4 season bag, and it's got a 3.4 on the R value. So yeah, this will be the first time I've tested this out as well. Got Rusty's bed. And I've just brought my pine wood shirt for a little later on, just in case it does get a bit chilly, and I've got this to put on. And this side is where I keep my titanium mug and my water bottle and my spork. On the underside of this lid I've got my head torch and my toothpaste and my bum wipes. And then on the top of this pouch here I've got my first aid kit. That's your lot. I've got my map in my pocket, even, and my compass as well. And that's me, all done. Everything we brought in the tap, but it's already up. Okay, big man. So I'm going to sleep up at this back end. It's sort of the flattest section of this bit, because as you come further forward it sort of slopes down ever so slightly. So I'm going to sleep here with my head at this end, because it sort of slopes up this way as well. So on my head, you don't want your head on the downward angle of a slope, because your blood will rush to your head and you end up with a massive headache in the morning. So this is a Gore-Tex bivy bag. Out the way, big lad. Look at that. Yeah, this is a Gore-Tex bivy bag. I started stuffing it into this this old snug pack jungle bag, sleeping bag stuff sack. I tend to now stuff it into a stuff sack. That way the creases will always be random each time I stuff it back in. When I'm back home I don't keep it in this, it just gets hung up on a hook in my cupboard where I keep all my stuff, but when I'm travelling I'll start putting it in this from now on. Next bit is the self-inflating roll mat. Like I said, my wife got me this for Christmas. They're not cheap, it's about £80. Self-inflating, you just release the valve and then it'll slowly suck in air. It will only take in so much, and if you want, if you prefer a firmer mat, you're going to have to blow some air into it yourself, but for the most part it does inflate really well. I haven't tested this outdoors, but at Christmas time, just gone, we spent it at my parents', and I sleep downstairs with Rusty because he's not allowed upstairs really, and so I slept on the floor on this in my sleeping bag. But I'm going to put it in here. Another feature I like about the Snug Pack travel pack bags is you get a travel pack 1, 2, 3, 4, and it goes as a 1 season bag, 2 season bag, 3 season bag, 4 season bag, but they all have these bug nets in them, and I do love me a bug net in my sleeping bag, especially as it's warming up now and all the bugs are out to play. Good to go. And lastly is Rusty's dog bed. And he's got a nice, this is the bottom is waterproof brown nylon material. I got it off eBay, can't remember its official name, but if you type in brown nylon waterproof material, which is what I did, you'll eventually find something along these lines. I bought a big roll of it because I made a few things from it. Well, I tried to make a few things from it, a couple of the things failed, but this was one of the successes, and also my my seating pad that I bring out with me when I'm usually just out on a day trip, so I've got somewhere comfortable to sit or kneel on. But yeah, I made this for Rusty. It's got a green blanket on top. It's like yak wool, I think it was. But yeah, this is where he sleeps. So I've just coppiced down some of this green wood here. I'm going to use it for fashioning some form of device to cook this steak over the fire in a little while. So before I get this all sorted out, what I'm going to do now is go and start gathering some firewood, some kindling and fuel pieces, and get ourselves ready for later on. When you're picking kindling, you obviously want dead and dry. This branch here is, the bark's all peeling off, it's all been ringed here, so this whole branch here is dead. You'll know by this sound. That's a nice sound, that's the dry, dead twig snap sound that you want. This will be really, really good kindling, this will go up like gasoline. pile there ready. Got my fuel wood there, which is oak. I've got my kindling here, which is various twigs from beech, oak and other things that are just lying about. And I've got my sort of intermediate kindling that go between the kindling up to the main fuel, which again is, some of it's oak, some of it's birch, some of it's sycamore. Just bits and pieces really, mixture. And then over here I've got my green woods. Now I'm going to fashion something, basically to cook the steak over the fire. Along the lines of a spit, but not an actual spit. I don't want to put the steak right onto the coals because it'll cook too fast on the outside and burn, I think, before it cooks the whole way through. So I want to set it above the fire and slowly cook it. But yeah, I need to make something for that to happen first. So I'll bring you back a little bit into it when I've got an idea in mind. So my sort of basic idea is I'm going to do 4 uprights either side of the fire, maybe about 6 inches apart, and I'm going to tie 2 cross pieces along them. So basically it'll be like a sort of goal net, but 2 of them next to each other about 6 inches apart across the fire, and then horizontally across it, is that right? No, vertically across the horizontal pieces I'm going to lash on a few shorter pieces, so to sort of do a makeshift greenwood grill, or griddle if you like. Now I've just been shaving the outer bark off these ones, and I'm planning on using this as cordage. If that fails, then I'll resort to jute twine. But we'll see how it all pans out, eh? So I've got my cordage, the outer bark. I've done a bit of a design change, more or less the same thing, but rather than having a, I'm going to do a triangular formation. So I'm going to have one there, and then one there, and I'll have a piece coming across to this one, and a piece coming across to this one, and I'm going to lash them all on, and then I'll do a sort of grill over the top. If that even makes sense. It will when it's done. It will. If this works, if this works. So this just gives you a sort of rough idea. I'm planning on doing some vertical pieces across here, and that's going to make the sort of the griddle or the grill, whatever you want to call it, and that's where the steak will sit. Yeah, that's basically it. I decided the reason to put the one stick at that end instead of two at that end is obviously when the fire gets going it's going to be up here roaring, and I don't want this drying out and getting burnt too quickly. So what I plan to do with it is I can take those two up and then pivot it on this one. That's why I put the thinner and the straightest piece in that end. So yeah, I'll be able to lift them two out, pivot it around so this is out of the way until the fire gets going and it sort of dies down and, you know, settles, and I can move it back into place and I'll be able to cook over it again. But I'm going to get these cross pieces put on. This is a good reason for having a good sharp 90-degree spine on the back of your knife. Little tasks like this get made much easier. So yeah, these will be the, I'm going to cut them down yet so they're a bit smaller, but these are going to make the grill for the steak to sit on. This is the steak, and it'll just sit over the fire like that. And that is it, job done. Ready to go. Just need to get the fire started. So my idea to be able to swing it like a sort of gate, if you like, has worked. The two original holes are marked with these two sticks, I remember where to put them. It does work. Pick it up, spin it, put it into place, and ready to cook. But for now, I'm just going to leave it there, push it into the ground a bit, and then when it's time to cook I'll put them back in the original holes. Right folks, so I did a little bit of raining before, so I brought my fireplace a bit closer. It's just under the tarp, sort of half outside, half inside the tarp if you like. I also had to move my grill as well. But I'm just going to prepare the tinder that I brought with me to start the fire with. This is in our bark from poplar. To be honest, I foraged this last summer, and then it's just been sat in the back of my cupboard, and then I found it when I was digging through it yesterday when I was packing. So I thought I'd bring this out with me. And to go along with it, I think this is like the seeds of elder, I think, I can't remember again. Yeah, I'm going to do a mixture of the two as a tinder bundle and use that to get the fire going. So I'm going to prepare this and I'll show you how I prepare that now. It's got this beech tree here and the bark on it's quite rough, so I'm just basically going to scrape it against the rough bark to fluff up all the fibres in it. I've got gloves on as well, and I'd recommend doing it so you don't like scuff your knuckles and that against the bark. I haven't come up with this on my own. I got the trick of the trade, if you like, from, is it Isle of Wight Bushcraft? I think it's called Isle of Wight Bushcraft. I'll leave a link to it in the description of this video if that's wrong, and I apologise to the guy just in case I have gotten it wrong. But yeah, I'll leave a link to it because he's got a few good tips now if you watch him. And this is where I got this one from. So here's the nest, and here's those seedlings. I quite like that ideology of the next fire mentality. Like every time you go out, forage materials, whatever it may be, if you can find it, fat wood, birch bark, any stuff like this, inner barks or poplar, this kind of stuff, you know, if you find it, take it. So next time you go back to the woods, at least on your first day anyway, you've got something to start a fire with, and then from there you can forage for more stuff. You know, so it's just a good mindset to be in whenever you're out. Just next fire mentality. Always be thinking of your next fire and gather stuff. I mean, I gathered this 6 months ago or so. And, yeah. I think it's sort of similar to that sort of cattail stuff, but bit of a flash tinder, but it should take the ember really nicely from the Bowdrill, if I can get an ember from the Bowdrill. Getting ahead of myself. But yeah, so that's it, ready to go. So here's my Bowdrill stuff that I brought. I practiced this, I took some pictures and that when I got back from work. I put them up on Instagram where I was practicing this in the back porch and managed to get an ember with it. So this is a piece of hazel, the spindle, and this is a piece of spruce. And I used my limpet shell as the bearing block. And this is from when I did the coastal bushcraft video up in Scotland. That was one of the limpets that I used. And the spindle fits in there really nicely, and that fits in your hand really nicely. And the whole system worked really well. And this is my bow. It's my dedicated bow. I found this shape of a bow to work really well for me at the minute, so I'm going to stick with this one. And just interchange the wood variations of the spindle and the hearthboard, see how I get on. So the natural reaction at this point is to panic and throw it into the tinder bundle and hope for the best. Just let it take. get your kindling straight on there. Right folks, that's time. I've got a couple of eggs boiling away in my pot there, and they'll be for breakfast tomorrow morning. It's just so I don't have to mess about getting a fire going to cook them, because I haven't brought anything else to cook with other than the fire. So here it is. Ready to go. So I've got here some beads. I thought I'd bring them along with me to carve them down when there wasn't much going on. Just waiting. I think the steak's going to take a while because I'm sort of slow. Obviously it's cooking above the fire, but I'm slow cooking above the fire, so I think it's going to take a little while before it's ready. So while I'm waiting, yeah, I'm going to start carving these down. These beads are what I use as the locking beads on the ferro rods that I make and sell. So there's the one for mine there. So yeah, I mean that's carved down a lot smaller than usually what I would do. It depends on the size of the bead when it first starts off and how small it's going to end up getting. They're roughly carved, they're not like perfectly smooth or anything, because I think they look better, I think, when they're more with the rough carve look. And then I stain them and then varnish them, satin varnish, so it's a bit shiny but not too shiny, with outdoor wood stain and varnish to protect them. Yeah, so we'll start with that now. But yeah, I'm pleased with the Bowdrill, how that worked out. I've got I would say I've probably got like a 70-30% success rate now. I mean, there's times where I get it and there's times where I don't get it. I think a lot to do with it is more mentality. If you're just not in the right mindset and you can't really be bothered, you're not going to put the effort into it, whether the wood's alright or not. Then there's obviously the wood in the first place. If it's not seasoned enough, then it's not really going to work either. It's kind of taken me a while to find the variation of it that suits me, because like the basic components are always the same. So you need a bow, you need a spindle, you need a herf board, you need a bearing block, and some form of cordage to make the bow marries up with the spindle. But the different variations between, like for instance, if you take the spindle, depending on whose channel you watch or whose blog you read or whose survival show you watch or whatever, some people tell you that the spindle needs to be like a foot long. Some people tell you it should only be 6 inches long. Some people tell you at the tip that's going to be in the bearing block it should be really pointed so there's less amount of friction. Some people tell you it's to be quite rounded. Some people tell you it's to be somewhere in between. Some people tell you it needs to be sort of hourglass shaped. I've saw some people do it where the bottom is fat and it gets narrower to the top. And some people tell you that it needs to be the same thickness as the herf board. The spindle needs to be the same thickness as the herf board. Or I've heard that the spindle needs to be an inch thick. Or it needs to be, you know, thumb thick. Whatever. All these different variations of one component to the Bowdrill. I think you just need to find the one that suits you the best and just marry it all up. And eventually you'll find your niche with it. Something I want to focus on this year with it is the variations of wood. Like the very first Bowdrill that I did and that I ever got an ember with, and it was on my channel, and blew it into flame, that was using elder and ivy. This one that I did today was hazel and spruce. I've tried pine on pine, I couldn't get it to work, but that could, at the time, that could have been more to do with the wood wasn't properly seasoned. So I might try that again. I haven't tried cedar yet. I've tried birch, but that never worked out either. But back then that was probably a lot to do with my technique as well, as much as it was the actual wood itself. Jumped in at the deep end with the birch spindle and the birch earthboard. But the only reason I used it is because it was dead wood that I found, and I didn't really want to be cutting anything else down just for the sake of it. And I stumbled across that and thought, I'll take that. I guess it just wasn't properly seasoned yet. But yeah, so that's sort of one end, and then the other end will be done the same, and then I'll sort of carve the middle out a bit, and then that's it basically. And then it gets, not today, not out here, but when I get home I'll stain it and varnish it. But I've got a lot to get through. So, I've got my chart in here, and what I'm looking for is some punky wood, so I can make some charwood. Rusty's joined us as well. Yeah, quite fond of my charwood, and plus something I did just before Christmas was bought myself a flint and steel set from Bushcraft. They're really good over there, they do some awesome stuff. I'll leave a link to their website in the description of this video as well, because that's, yeah, I like their stuff. Yeah, so I want to make some charwood to go along with the flint and steel set, and see how I get on with that. So yeah, I got this tree here. I don't know what it is, to be honest. What it used to be. It might have been beech. Yeah, but could have been beech. But it's not the point. What the point is it's nice and punky. So I'm going to take a few chunks of this. What I'll probably do is take about 2 or 3 large pieces, char them, because they shrink right down when you char them, and then come back and get a few more pieces and do it and char a few more bits. See that? That's good, that. Nice big chunk there. So I'll tell you a lie, I'm only going to do 2 pieces because I can only fit these 2 in. But I'll char these, and then I'll come back and get some more. So here's the char tin. I'm just going to pop it into that wee little space there. In about half an hour or so, that should be good to go. So I've got this tinder fungus, King Arthur's cake. It's a Daldinia concentrica, but you can put a spark into this. Just open it out like that to expose the inners, and we'll put a spark into that. See, I could have put that into my tinder bundle, and blow it into flame. Just like punk wood, really. Before I give you a wee goosey at the steak there. Cooking away nicely. I'm just turning it over every so often. But yeah, I think it's going to be delicious. So folks, I think that is the steak ready. So I'm going to put it on this titanium plate to eat from it. Look at that. That is the stuff, bud, isn't it? That is the stuff. That's going to take some eating, isn't it? That's going to take some eating. Right, I'll give you a close up before I get stuck into it. Look at that thing, it's a beast. "24 ounces. I am not going to be able to walk tomorrow. Let's eat. Tender and juicy, exactly the way you want it to be. It's a business, bud? Yeah. Let's see what else we got. This took probably about 2 hours to slow cook. Slow cooked over the fire. And nice and pink that is. It's a business, bud? Look. So yeah, big massive thunderstorm turned up. We're kind of stranded under here at the minute now, so I don't think we'll be doing much more for the rest of the evening if this is going to be it. Fire's pretty much dying down. I brought over a couple of long pieces of oak because my plan was I was going to slowly feed those into the fire throughout the night until it was time to go to bed, but well, the thunderstorms put a carry bash on that plan. But Joe, if you're watching, mate, here's that pig's ear for Rusty. On my last video I did, Rusty, he sort of photobombed my video. He knocked over my camera, and Joe from Hoot Bivvy Wild Camper says I had to give Rusty a pig's ear on his behalf, so there you are. He's chuffed, stuck under the tap in a thunderstorm chewing his pig's ear. So I suppose I'll put my shirt on now because it's a bit chilly and get stuck into my trail mix. So yeah,